Hey y'all, happy Monday. I'm trying to record this portion with my camera now. See how that goes. I normally do breakfast brunches. So I made a really great one today that I'm gonna try to do for the rest of the week. Today I was just kind of a checklist day. I had to plan my weekly schedule, editing and posting last week's video today. I have a bunch of work items that I just want to kind of get out of the way. I'm trying to make space on my phone and my hard drive. The hardest thing for me to get over creatively is the lack of organization, and so creating more space allows for me to kind of figure out where things go. And once I kind of have a map and an understanding of where things are, it's easier for me to start making connections and using old footage and things like that. So I'm hoping that as I start cleaning things out, I'll be able to use more stuff that I just have in the can that I haven't processed yet. So that's exciting. I'm also thinking about doing a book show and tell soon. I'm getting a bunch of books for school coming in, and so kind of showing you what they are and if you have feedback on some of the books. Something I've been thinking about recently is unlikely friendships. A lot of the friendships that I have seem like unlikely friendships. We all have complementary things, but we also all have very dissonant things, and I'm finding that when communication is right and there's a baseline of respect, that we can really bring things out of each other that we didn't know was there. And I think that that's what makes collaborations kind of exciting in art, and yeah, that's what I've been thinking about lately. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, January 5th. I started this day exercising and my headphones died like halfway through cardio, and cardio is my least favorite sort of exercise, but it's important. You know, your body is a temple. It's good to take good care of it. And I was getting kind of frustrated because they were dying, and I was in a really good NPR story, one of those, I think they call them driveway stories. You'll sit in your driveway if you're listening to it in the car because it's that good. And eventually they died, and I was halfway through like a 30-minute set, and I was thinking, okay, this is a disruption. And one thing I feel like I've learned from 2020 is that disruption can be opportunity. Not to minimize the loss and pain and trauma that 2020 brought, but I also think it opened eyes and ears to a lot of issues. So there's an opportunity in the opening of the eyes and ears, and so I thought, okay, well, what can I do with this time? And then I was reminded that I have an app that I use every once in a while when I'm praying, and I'm not sponsored by this app or anything. It's just like a wonderful app for me. So I'm gonna show you. It's called Echo, and it's a really simple prayer app. It has a really simple layout, and you basically add in prayers as you go, as you want to pray for people, as things are on your heart, and then you can click pray now and go down to the prayer timer and set a timer for how long you want to pray, and it'll just keep bringing up your prayers so that you can be prayerful. I'm a spreadsheet kind of girl, and so having something that orders and organizes and keeps me focused is really helpful. So I spent the next 15 or so minutes going through my prayers in my prayer app, and I think that's going to be something that I start doing while I'm doing cardio. I don't do 30 minutes of cardio every day. I mean, I'm going to still be doing NPR. I love NPR. I love NPR when I'm working out because I'm able to, in the same moment, receive information that might be disheartening or frustrating or whatever, and then sweat it out. So it enables me to retain the information and move forward in wisdom, but also, you know, keep my heart healthy. So that's been a great proactive way to guard my heart without putting blinders on. There was also another thing. After working out, I was having a shower thought, and a song came to my mind, and it reminded me of this church in Hawaii that has things on YouTube. That's been another wonderful thing. Churches have been online, so I can watch a church in Hawaii, and I can watch churches that I used to go to. I can tune into synagogue services. Anyway, the song came to my mind, and it reminded me of this church in Hawaii that I tune into to watch the worship hula dancing. It's really quite beautiful, and so I'll show you a clip now.
He knows my name. He knows my every thought. He sees each tear that falls and hears me when I call.
I hope that little clip kind of moved you. I'll link down below where to watch the hula, but also where to find the prayer app. Anyway, talk soon, y'all. Hey y'all. I wanted to circle back and talk about that book that I started reading for my class on liturgy and worship, and the book is actually pretty amazing so far. It talks about education and the process of education, and that the ways in which we structure our education actually has almost an underlying idea of what we believe people to be, and that education that is based solely on conveying information from the teacher to the pupils has this idea that people are sort of these heads. I think therefore I am, these very Cartesian ideas, and that it totally negates the body. And of course I am very excited about things that speak against the negation of the body as a dancer choreographer. For example, let me read you a bit from the book. He writes, "Let me suggest an axiom. Behind every pedagogy is a philosophical anthropology. In more pedestrian terms, behind every constellation of educational practices is a set of assumptions about the nature of human persons, about the kinds of creatures we are. Thus, a pedagogy that thinks about education as primarily a matter of disseminating information tends to assume that human beings are primarily thinking things and cognitive machines. Ideas and concepts are at the heart of such pedagogies because they are aimed primarily at the head. Because of the intellectualist philosophical anthropology that is operative here, the body tends to drop out of the picture." So good. They're so good. Yeah.
Joining members of Congress in evacuating the Capitol, ordered by police to leave so that they can try to get the protesters out of the building. Apparently, that's what we believe is going on. Lisa's keeping that camera with her. That's what's giving us access to what you see. The president says the election was stolen. He continues to insist the election was stolen, but he is calling for calm. So it remains to be seen whether this short statement by the president will have the desired effect of getting people to leave the Capitol.
Hey y'all, welcome back. I do want to talk about what happened this week in Washington, D.C. I did want to offer as something to reflect with this graphic that I found from Oh Happy Danny. Oh Happy Danny is Danielle Koch, and I'll link her social media below. She offered this graphic for the cycle of inaction, and it starts at horrific injustice, moves to shock and confusion, an emotional response, some performative allyship, guilt and fatigue, inaction and passivity, and then back to apathy until there's another horrific injustice, which leads us to shock and confusion. And it's important that we break this cycle. So in the next sort of slide, she posted the cycle of action, and it read like a prayer. It's quite beautiful, and so I'm going to read it to you. So when horrific injustice takes place, we won't be overtaken by shock and confusion as if the fruit of systemic oppression is surprising. Instead, our emotional response will be marked by empathy and compassion, leading to a rejection of performative allyship in exchange for the real, vigorous work. And should guilt and fatigue try to settle in, we'll recenter the needs of those yearning for liberation, remembering that inaction and passivity are detrimental to justice and that apathy is the antithesis of unconditional love. And then it repeats. So I offer that as a prayer over the horrors we saw and move us toward action. So this evening, my church family is doing their sort of annual summit. It's usually something that you would go to the original church location for, but this year they're doing it virtually. So that's tonight, and I'm looking forward to tuning into that.